Welcome to the Spirit of a Badass, where we celebrate stories of courage, hope, and resiliency. I'm your host, Alecia Jacobson. Hello to all you badasses joining us today. Today it is me. It's going to be a little bit different episode. I am going to be here talking about why I started this podcast, a little bit of my story, and we're just going to get started. First, I've been having this really funny thing happen where when I'm sleeping or like kind of sleeping, I'm dreaming about interviewing people on this podcast. And last night I was asking questions and I thought they were like really powerful questions. So I actually like had the thought to wake up and I typed them down in my phone and I looked this morning and I don't really know what they were. It doesn't make any sense. So that's kind of funny, which is so interesting because usually like there was a time in my life when I lived in an apartment. I was married to my ex-husband and we had just bought a house and I was obsessed with HGTV and I would watch it all the time and this was like before Pinterest and come up with all these ideas of things that I wanted to do with this house. And then I started dreaming about home improvement projects and there was one with like tile and I'm trying to get the tile up and it was like too much. So at that point I had to stop watching HGTV. Because it was ruining my sleep. I'm not going to give up on this podcast. I will tell you that, but it is super weird. I'm sure you have had this experience with something also. So that's where I am at today. I didn't sleep the best last night. It's actually my daughter's 8th birthday today, so I'm kind of excited to celebrate that. I made some chocolate chip pancakes for her today for her breakfast and sent some ice cream to school for her treat. So we're excited to celebrate that today. So getting into why I started this podcast. I own a gym and I work with women. It has sort of evolved. I owned a smaller gym for about 3 years where I did personal training and some classes in the early mornings and in the evenings. And then it grew and I opened a space where I train, and then I have other trainers that run their businesses out of the gym there. And in training, I realized that one of my favorite parts was not the actual training, but the thoughts that went into people's training, meaning like the emotions that they processed, the feelings that they brought into the training. And that was actually my favorite part. And then I went to the UW and went to their coaching program, their professional coaching program, and I got my certification there. And then that's when I started doing more of the health coaching and the life coaching and creating some group programs and one-on-one programs to work with women. And I do have a few male clients also. So that was sort of my evolution. And this podcast was actually supposed to start in 2019. I bought the stuff in 2019. I had this beautiful office because when you have a lot of people in your house, it's really hard to find some quiet space to actually record a podcast. I had this beautiful office that I had everything all set up. But then COVID happened and I was home and I was like, this is just not possible. And it might have been possible, but for my threshold of what I was dealing with, we have a combined 6 kids. And I had at least 5 here all the time that I was trying to balance my work and then their education and then just whatever the hell was going on in the world at the time. That kind of put the kibosh on this podcast as well as many other things that I had coming up. I was doing a lot of public speaking at the time because that's something else that is a love that I have, and sharing the message with organizations and businesses. And that also kind of went away. I did some stuff online. So now that's picking up too. So I feel like 2023 is like 2020 take 2. So this is kind of fun. So I am here now doing this podcast, and something else that I noticed, because I just thought you showed up and you kind of talked and that was just what you did. There's a whole lot of shit that goes actually into this. So I'm so thankful because my very good friend, Jamie Gale, is producing it. So that means I just do the talking and then she makes it beautiful. And that is a skill that I do not have. I do not like technology. Nope, not my thing. So I would have given up. Like, had I actually done this on my own in 2020, this would not be a thing because my threshold for anything that is technical, not my jam. Nope, I don't want any part of it. So I'm really thankful for her because if it wasn't for her, I would not be doing this, not at all. Originally, back in, I think it must have been 2020, back when Instagram had their IGTV, I was going to do kind of the essence of what this podcast is and do interviews with 3 questions. What was one of your most defining moments? What is your life hack? And I did one of them. And I did it with my mom. It's still on my Instagram, I'm pretty sure. I don't know where, maybe under the reels or on my page. I don't know. And her life hack, people still remember this. It's so funny. Her life hack was putting tape, I believe, on her nails when she was painting them, like on the tips of your nails, so that you didn't get the nail polish on your nails. Maybe I'm wrong. Other people remember more than I do. But that was like the first little like seed planted of me doing this. And that was like before I didn't do a lot on video because I wasn't really comfortable with it. And now, we all just got thrown into the deep end in 2020. So it is, we are all here on video all the time. So this was born, and my love for hearing women's stories, and not only hearing their stories, but having other people hear their stories. And then you have the idea of the woman telling her story. There is something so empowering when you share your story. So sometimes we keep things like hidden in us. Everybody has something, like, you have your outer self and then your inner self. And when you keep things to yourself and you don't share them, they can kind of fester and they grow bigger. But when you bring light to things and you share them, not only does it support you and your healing and your journey, but it also impacts other people. So throughout coaching and being in the gym, I would just see people transform by showing up and sharing, hearing their stories, all those things. So it was a really lovely process to be able to see people. I mean, sort of like the caterpillar and the butterfly, you are the caterpillar and you decide, I'm going to take this journey, and then you go into your cocoon. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not a butterfly person, but I'm pretty sure they go turn into like gooey, gross stuff, which is what happens. This transformation that you make, it gets gooey and gross and like sticky, and you have to sift through like icky things that don't make you feel well. But then you have this amazing transformation, and the butterfly emerges, and you're like this beautiful, colored version of yourself, where before, you were a different version. So throughout this process, also, the idea of your constantly turning into this new version of yourself. We go through that sort of gooiness and then emerge this butterfly. So I am here. I will be sharing lots of stories of people's journeys, the things that they have been through, with the purpose of not only it being in support of them, but also those of you who are listening being able to connect with their stories and feel seen and heard through their stories, and then also learn something, because even if it's a story that has nothing to do with your life, there are some principles just in living that can transfer to things that you have. I know I've listened to stories and I'm like, not me at all. However, a few things that people say, it's like, oh, that really has an impact on me and my thinking. So that will be our journey here on the Spirit of a Badass podcast. I'm really just excited to share it with you. I'm excited that it is like, it has life now. It has life because it just lived in me for so long. So if you have something that is in you, like a seed planted, please pour some water and sunshine on it and bring it to life. Let it grow inside you, in the winter. And then the spring comes, like have your spring and your summer where it's just blooming. Don't keep it to yourself, because it's so good to share your talents with the world. All right, my story. Many people know my story, but specifically related to why I really care so deeply about empowering women is because I was a very disempowered woman many years ago, basically throughout my entire well, I think since I was a child, I didn't really have a lot of the mindset or tools that I needed. And then specifically like in high school, the whole dumb blonde stuff was out then. And people would just say that to me like relentlessly. And I believed it. And I took that on as my identity. And I really didn't put much effort into anything. And it was really, I mean, kind of unfortunate that that happened. I mean, I wouldn't be here. That's the thing. Like it happened. It brought me to where I am. So no, I wouldn't change anything. But I want other people to feel empowered because you don't have to live that way. I just felt very disempowered and really didn't feel empowered until I was probably in my late 20s, early 30s. I got married very young. I was 24 to somebody that I had dated my senior year in high school and then beyond. It was not like I had that feeling of like, this is not a good idea. This is not a good idea. That's something that I'm also working through right now is forgiving myself for having these knowings. You have that internal knowing. I ignored it for a really long time. So I had that sort of knowing of, girl, don't do it, don't do it. But guess what? I did it. And I have two amazing, beautiful kids that again, I wouldn't turn back time. My son is going to be 16 soon, and my daughter is 13. And so I got married young, had two children, and then after my youngest she wasn't even two yet. I left that home and filed for divorce, and I'd been a stay-at-home mom. And just before I realized like this, I cannot live like this anymore. I started taking the personal training classes at the UW. And then I started working at two different gyms, teaching boot camps. One was like a mobile one. So I'd go to like schools and people would come at super early in the morning and work out. And another one was at a gym here in town. And I would do that every morning. And it felt so good. It was like, oh, like I turned into a different person. It was wild. I'm an introvert, like painfully introverted, like being out in people is a lot for me. Not like in the gym. I can be in front of all the people, which was so interesting because I would have thought, oh, here are 20 people in front of you, that my weirdness when I'm around people, that awkward, like I can't make the sentences happen and I get all twitchy, would come out. But no, I turned into this woman who was like yelling and excited and had all of this energy. And I was like, who the fuck is this girl? I've never met her before. And she emerged out of me. And it was this new, like a butterfly. And I had already started doing some, kind of inner work, reading some books. But this was like a true turning point of like, holy hell, here you are. I found you. And I think that actually thinking different, that was a big thing that happened within my marriage. And I couldn't take it anymore. So I left, and it was a very, I don't know the word that people use for divorces that are terrible. High conflict. That's the PC word. And I had my two kids. We lived in my great grandparents' home. And I really didn't I had no money, no car, because he took my car. And I was making like $500 a month working. So it was tough. And people they rallied. They really rallied around me. I remember at Christmas, every year, I remember this story. I had this wonderful friend, and she brought Christmas presents to my son's preschool. They were wrapped, and she gave them to me to give them to my kids because I didn't have money for Christmas presents. And that was only one example. My dear friend Emily, who did that, and people showed up for me all the time. People listened because it was a roller coaster. I mean, I was on high emotions and low emotions, and I had some health issues, just a lot of things. And I had a 2-year-old. My daughter wasn't even 2, I think, when I left, and my son was like 4K. So that's a lot. But that totally, it changed me. I was just talking with somebody this morning. Some of these things I forget. So I moved into my great grandparents' home and I had to take care of the lawn and I used a weed whacker and my grandpa had a riding lawnmower and I used that thing. Like I got on it and I mowed the freaking lawn all the time and I loved it. And that was like my defining moment of you got this. I can do this. And of course, probably the next week I was in a puddle on the floor, like, I don't got this. But through it all, I had people that believed in me and I believed in me. I truly had this like inner knowing of I can make this happen. Not that I don't have self doubt. I think I had just been through so much and overcome so much that I was like, I can fucking do anything. And so that is the message that I want to equip every single woman out there with is that you can fucking do anything. Anything. It's going to be hard. Like there's no doubt about that. But you can do it. Get your team in place. I talk about having like my pit crew. I have my support team. I have my people. So it's just like you can create that and you can do that. So that is a lot of the reason that I started this because I went through the fire. Like it was bad. And I came out stronger. I came out with this unwavering knowing that I can do it. And through that, and because of that, I show up for other people and other women to instill that message in them because it can be done. Part of that is believing that it can be done. And sometimes you need a partner in that. Like I had a lot of people telling me like, you can do it when I felt like I couldn't. So I'm here to tell you that you can do it also. So that is my story with that. And as you know, for the other episodes that you've heard, I like to end with a life hack. So I'm going to tell you my life hack. So this is for people with small children. I have let's see. Oh, my daughter's birthday today. She's 8. She's 8 now, not 7. And then I have a 5.5-year-old because we celebrated her 5.5 birthday. It was on Monday of this week. And we celebrated that because she was over the moon excited about her 5.5 birthday more than any other birthday before. Like this is my this is my child. Like she's got so much love and excitement. Like she just has big feels inside her. So she was excited. So we had cake and we sang and all the things for her 5.5 birthday. So I have 5.5-year-old and an 8-year-old. And my hack is that they go to bed in their clothes for the next day because mornings are a shit show, an absolute shit show. I can't remember if I started this with my 2 older kids, but for these 2, like it works. We do like, okay, go upstairs, get your clothes on for tomorrow. We brush our teeth. We do all the things. We just like it. And plus like that eliminates an extra thing of laundry for pajamas. So that is my life hack. It works well for me. It might, some people probably think that's weird, but I'm telling you. And that also like I have people who come to the gym, they literally sleep in their gym clothes because it makes them actually get up. So this works for adults too. Thank you so much for being here with me today.
I want to let you know about an amazing opportunity you can join no matter where you live. If you're a woman who's ready to take control of your personal growth journey and build the life you truly desire, I want to invite you to my Women's Coaching Circle. Our circle meets weekly on Zoom and focuses on themes such as nourishing your body, managing stress, and achieving your dream outcomes. As a member of the circle, you'll receive personalized support, guidance, and accountability from both myself and the amazing women in the circle. We believe in building a strong foundation through daily movement, gratitude, meditation, and mindset work that emphasizes what you want to create in your life. With the support of the circle, you'll be empowered to set goals, make plans, and take consistent action towards your dreams. If you're ready to take the next step towards transformation and connect with like-minded women, I encourage you to book your discovery call today. Our group begins May 2nd. The link will be in the show notes. I can't wait to welcome you into our community. Again, thanks for listening. Spirit of a Badass is a Lit Path Studios podcast and is produced by Jamie Gale and Alecia Jacobson. Music by Shane Ivers. We'll be back with another inspiring interview. Until then, keep your spirits high and your energy badass.